rehab strategy. So buy rehab. So it's called buy rehab and refinance. In the
Yeah.
UK, it's called buy refurb. All right, rent and refinance. All right. To be honest, when I started strategy, I first learned it in America because I got a book by oh my days, it's escaped me now. So I bought a book in America and then I started looking at it in America, and all of a sudden something popped up in the UK and I found myself a mentor who kind of showed me how to do it. So buy rehab is called in the US. It's a situation whereby you buy, it's a strategy, not a situation. There's a strategy where you buy rundown properties and you uplift those values of those properties through refurbishments. And instead of selling them, you refinance them. You put a new loan on it, and then the bank gives you money based on the new value, and it allows you to basically pay the cost of which you have used for the refurbishment, the cost of which you've used for um, for acquiring these particular properties. And this was exactly how I managed to buy the first one, rehab it. I'm going to use American term. All right, buy it, rehab it, all right, and then rent it out and then refinance it to get all my money out. And I just kept doing that. And God did awesome thing during the most difficult time on the planet Earth when there was famine in the land. Even now, there is still famine in the land. But the fact is that the Bible says in the days of famine, his people shall enjoy plenty. So for me, over the days of famine, God has elevated my business, and I've just continued to use investors' money to continue to buy these assets, refurbish them, give them great return, and then hold on to the assets for future capital appreciation.
Yeah, I'm definitely well familiar with that strategy, the bird strategy. For those who are listening and those who are watching, that's what he's referring to. So I want to add, you mentioned that you kind of learned this from a book that you bought, that you got from America. I want to add, is there any difference between this type of style, this type of strategies that someone will use here in the United States versus, in the UK?
Yeah. So the thing is, property is one across the globe. All right. Property is property, whether you're buying commercial real estate or whether you're buying residential real estate. But one of the things people have got to do is that, I'll give an example. Grant Cardone is my mentor. He's based in the US. So I look at
Yeah.
a lot of his stuff and I relate his stuff, what he does in America, into the UK. In as much as I could probably be speaking in his style because he's speaking quite a very, people say he's arrogant. He's not arrogant. He's worked hard. He shows everything that he does. Now, in as much a lot of people could disagree with that here in the UK, but I kind of pick a lot of stuff from him as my mentor. Okay. So, and the same way for those who are looking to kind of get into real estate, and probably those are going to be listening right now in this podcast, they can see what I'm doing, but what they just need to do, or they can come and learn from me, for example. What they just need to do is to be able to make a switch into how it would work by applying some specific, due diligence, some specific research to bring it into fruition. Does that make sense? So real
Yeah.
estate is one. Real estate is the same, all right? Whether in the US, whether it's here. In the US, you have multifamily, door to door. In the UK, we call it houses of multiple occupation. All right, multifamily is called HMOs. Okay, so it's just that we're giving it different names. But if you study real estate for enough, you understand actually it's the same. In Nigeria, they call it face me, I face you, right? Face me, I face you. That's what they call it in Nigeria. In Nigeria is where you build a bungalow of 10 rooms, and each of the rooms facing one another, and they have a public toilet and a public bathroom and a public kitchen at the back, right? It's called face me, I face you. All right. So it's just called different names.
You're right. You're 100% right that, no matter where in the world, real estate, you can do real estate. And, I want to ask, what are three characteristics trait that someone needs to become a successful property investor, specifically in the UK?
You need intelligence, you need creativity, right? You need intelligence, you need creativity, and finally, you need to be someone who is full of resilience. No quitting. You've got to be you've got to be full of resilience. You've got to be able to navigate your way through. And those are just the three qualities. That simple. All right. It's very simple.
And I know what you call it, in the UK right now, especially like England, with the change of prime minister, inflation, interest rates are going up. How would you say someone should go about investing, buying property in this current environment?
Great question. You need to, you need to have knowledge, all right? You know, having been through massive roller coaster of me now truly discovering myself, you see, I started to understand that once you build social currency, which is credibility and brand awareness, all right? Social currency, social media, and brand awareness. Once you build this, okay, and anyone can invest in you, right? Once you have that credibility and you have the brand, you have the, you have all the great stuff around you, people generically would invest with you. But this to happen, first of all, you need knowledge. No one is going to come and give you money. Even the bank these days wants to know what is your entry and your exit strategy. What are you looking to do and how are you looking to get out? That's what they look at. So for me right now, I've got quite a significant, knowledge around myself because I've done so many things in property over the last 5 to 6 years. And I understand that it's important for you to build your own personal economy. Now, with the kind of strategies that I do, right, it doesn't matter whether the interest rates are going to go, over the roof. It doesn't really matter, right? Because as long as I'm thinking, number one, long term, number two, can it pay for itself? Can the debt service itself? All right. Interest rates could be fixed for 3 years, could be fixed for 5 years. So if I buy a house today for the sake of numbers and the mortgage, the loan or the debt I've taken from the bank is going to cost me £1,000. All right. And that same property that I'm going to buy and it's going to generate me, it's going to cost me £1,000 to service the debt to the bank. However, the property is going to generate me £3,000 a month. It doesn't really matter how much that interest is, as long as I'm paying 1,000 and I'm still left with £2,000 a month. Now, this is why it's so important for people to understand how to create wealth. You see, all these successful organizations, businesses, even countries are run on the back of debt, right? The debt just needs to be able to pay for itself, service itself. And if you can squeeze out extra for yourself, then fine. But long term, it will correct. So I'll give an example again. I rent my houses to 6 people. 6 people pays me rent. If it's a 5 or if it's a 6-bed house, 6 people renting this house gives me 6 rents, month in, month out. So now, if one of them loses their job and 2 of them loses their job, 3 people are still going to be able to pay me rent. Correct? Now, if 3 people pays me this rent, and if I bring these 2 rents together, all right, this is still going to help me service the debt on the house, which is the money I'm going to pay on the mortgage to the bank. So the one rent that is left, these 2 people not having a job now, will still help me cover the cost of maintaining the property. So in the meantime, temporarily, I just know that, okay, these 2 people, I just need to work with them as quickly as possible to get them out or get a replacement so that I can start making money again. And that's what people need to really understand, how to navigate crisis, how to navigate recessions. It doesn't mean that the world is going to close down on you. It just means that you just have to make sure that even if you're leveraging, even if you're borrowing, regardless of what the interest rate is, you still need to have an income coming through that at least will service the debt and still give you a little bit extra. All right. If you can give it ×2, then that's fine. So if you're paying 1,000 off to the mortgage lender, all right, and you're still making £1,000, fantastic. But if you're not making £1,000 extra, how about £500? So if you're making £500, yes, you're a bit tight now, not a problem. But over time, it will correct itself, even though your loan is fixed for a certain time. I just think people need to understand that, for me, I have different views on how I see things. So I originally born and raised in Nigeria. The basic bank rate in Nigeria is 27%. Currently, the basic bank of England's interest rate is 3%. So if you're looking at both economies, money is actually very cheap in England and cheap in the US. All right. And that's how I look at things. It's cheap. All right. But on the long term, if I take money from the bank now, regardless of what the interest rate are, statistics have shown to us that regardless of wherever you're investing from, whether in Nigeria, whether in the United States of America, whether in Dubai, whether in England, statistics have shown us that property always tend to double in value if bought at the right location every 10 years.
Hmm.
Every 10 years, there is an incline market or there's a decline market. Now, the 10 years sometimes could push into 15 years, but there would be that incline within that life cycle. The last recession was in 2008, 2009, 2008, 2009 to 2010. By 2011, things kind of got stabilized. 2010, things started to stabilize across the globe. That was economic crunch, right? But now
Yeah.
in this current market that we are, is cost of living crisis, is wars in Ukraine, is the pandemic. Okay, so people just need to kind of understand that on a long term, 10 years time, the property that you're buying at this particular time, regardless, is going to be worth a bit slightly more as long as you buy in the right location. So the interest rate wouldn't really matter, because it's how can you make it work, and can it pays itself, and can I even make more profit in 10 years time? I think long-term thinking is the only way to navigate recession.
Wow. Yeah, you're 100% right. And I'm sure everybody's been listening, but I want to ask if you can give like 3 steps that someone who's listening and watching can do right now to put themselves in position in the UK to buy property. What would those 3 steps be?
Number one is, don't do what you don't understand. If you need to do it, find the people who understands it and already doing it and invest with them. So, example, if you got $100,000 in your bank account right now and you wanted to start a business, but you're afraid of losing that money, and you want to invest in real estate, but you don't want to do it in the US and you want to do it here in the UK, reach out to me, right? And collaborate with myself to gain great return. Let me take all the risk and guarantee your income back to you, right? And that's how you want to look at it. But how about if you're not fearful and you really want to do it? Then get some knowledge. All right, get some knowledge, understand the pros, the cons, the highs and the lows, and then take the risk. And finally, understand everything is risk. From the moment you wake up in the morning, the day is not guaranteed. From the moment you get out of bed, anything could happen. A lot of people woke up this morning and died this evening. A lot of people
Yeah,
woke up and died this afternoon. So
you're
nothing
right.
in life is guaranteed. So you've got to understand risk is part of life. But all we just got to do is to keep praying to God to live a good life, to have a good health, and to do the basic things. So you just got to understand, right? If you can't do it, get others who are doing it, and others you can trust, others you like and you believe in, collaborate with them if you're risk reverse, or if you want to be passive. If you want to be active, get knowledge and go through their directions and get it done.